guys, what am I eating? A sandwich. You know what else is like a sandwich? The upper arm. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the 4 or 5 muscles of the upper arm. Proco talks about this, which is where I heard this, but altogether they look like a sandwich of muscles laid over top the humerus. No! First muscle, the brachialis. The brachialis connects halfway down the humerus, just at the point where the deltoids end. In fact, if you view it from the side, the brachialis has 2 ends that gnaw on the end of the deltoid. It reminds me of a fish blowing gum. Getting back to the connection points, the brachialis goes from halfway down the humerus and connects to the ulna. That's the pinky side of the arm. From the front, it looks like a steak, but from the side you can see it's actually flat, but don't let that fool you. This muscle is actually the most important muscle for raising your arm. Also keep in mind, anatomy is asymmetrical, so the side of the brachialis on the outside of the arm is higher than the inside. The next muscle is the biceps. They sit on top of the brachialis, so you can only see the side of the latter. Interestingly enough, even though the biceps help bend the arm, they don't actually connect to the humerus bone itself. The biceps, as the name implies with bi, has 2 heads. The long head connects to a tuberosity on the scapula, right on the socket the humerus connects to. Then it slips to the front of the humerus through this groove. The short head of the biceps connect to the coracoid process. Remember when I was talking about the acromion process on the shoulder blade last video? The coracoid process sits right below that. After getting all connected in their origin points, the biceps stretch down to the forearm bones. But since the brachialis is taking the spot on the ulna, it goes to the radius instead. This is the thumb side of the arm. Angle-wise, it tilts in the opposite direction of the brachialis, turning towards the chest. Because of its connection to the radius, when the arm turns in pronation, i.e. the hand faces downward, the tendon gets wrapped around the radius like a fishing pole and stretches it out. So in supination, hands up, it's at full volume, but in pronation, it's flatter. Alright, we got the top piece of the bread, we got the slice of meat, but now we need the bottom of the bread. Triceps. The triceps sit on the back of the humerus, stretching out towards the sides just a bit. Just like the biceps, the tri indicates a 3-headed muscle. The medial head, the long head, and the lateral head. The first part, the medial head, is teardrop-shaped. The bulk of it connects to the elbow, then stretches towards the upper 2/3 of the humerus. You don't have to worry too much about the shape of it because it all gets covered up with a tendon and the rest of the triceps. You mostly only see it from the inside of the arm, right below the long head. As I mentioned earlier, there's a tendon slapped on the triceps that cover up something like half of the muscles, so you have this flat block below the muscles. It connects to your elbow along the medial tricep. At the top, it's kind of like an arrow or a house. I've more commonly seen it like the roof of the house. However, the inside slope slopes at a sharper diagonal than the outside one, so it looks something like this. You can still simplify it to a rectangle though, that's fine too. Next is the lateral head. It starts from the bulb of the humerus, or the head of the humerus, and goes approximately halfway down the humerus bone. After it hits the top of the tendon, it slides all the way down the side of it, resulting in a comma shape. Now, the final piece of the puzzle, right between the medial and the lateral head, the long head. Interestingly enough, the long head attaches to the scapula instead of the arm, right around here. Going down, it attaches to the top of the tendon, so it's on the inside more of the arm. Another interesting thing about the long head, it has this tendon bit or slit that makes it look a bit like the biceps do with that 2-headed split. In Proco's tricep video, I'll link it in the description, he mentions that this split often confuses students as they think it's the medial head. I definitely see this, but so long as you remember that the medial head connects to the elbow, you should be good. Last muscle of the group, so small that you may not see it. In fact, you won't really see it until you lift the arm up. The last muscle is the Coracobrachialis, and as the name might imply, it originates from the coracoid process and connects about halfway down the humerus on the side, wedging in between the biceps and the triceps before disappearing into the armpit. It helps with bringing the arm towards the body. Now that we're wrapping this up, I want to take a moment and talk about studying the arm muscles, since there's so much twisting and rotating you can do. One of the exercises I cannot recommend enough to study muscles: find a 3D model, Sketchfab, Intermodel, etc. Find the muscles you want to study and then draw them from different angles. If you can't find a good 3D model, then pull up an anatomy book. I recommend Atlas of Human Anatomy for the Artist by Stephen Rogers Peck. Obviously, since it's human anatomy, there is some nudity, so if you're uncomfortable with that, you can have someone else go through and slap tape all over the spots. As you're drawing all those different angles, here's your chance to throw it together in an animation. Krita is a free digital software that I use for my animations and small doodles sometimes. If you don't have a tablet, you could just throw the drawings on paper into a flip book and then move it that way. Your options are endless. Anyway, sorry for taking so long to get this uploaded. I'm having some new stuff going on that's taking some micro adjustments to my time, and I'm trying to post every Sunday, or at least every other Sunday. Well, we'll see how that goes. Next video, I'm going to talk about the forearm muscles, so if you want to stay tuned and get updates on whenever I post my new videos, you can come on over to my channel, subscribe. Until then, have a good day.